Okay, so hi everybody, this is Jag coming at you with another video here. And, well, the Game Awards. The nominees have finally been announced, and we finally get to see who received the nomination for which. This year was insane because there was a lot of great banger games that released this year, so it's really crazy to see which ones made it on the list and which ones didn't. There's a lot of categories this year that came out, and more importantly, I actually got to play. So I can actually vote in a lot of these categories. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started right now. Let's go ahead and pull this up here. So Game of the Year. We're immediately starting off rip with Game of the Year. I wanted to do this in like in the category setup where Game of the Year would be last, but unfortunately the site goes down and it's really fighty. So actually let me see if it'll work now. Oh no, fuck. Oh. Jeff, why don't you use your big boy money and make a better website? Apparently this is an issue for a lot of people right now where the voting website is actually going down a lot, so you have to, like, be very careful with how you do these categories here. So let's see if we could just... Okay. So I'm just going to start from game direction. We're going to save Game of the Year for last. I don't want to view all categories because I think the website kills itself if you do that. So instead, we're just going to start from best game. We're going to start from the second option, and then hopefully we can scroll back to the last part here where we go and pick our Game of the Year. Let me preface this now. This is going to be my opinion, and of course it's going to be my votes. And I know that probably doesn't matter much considering I only have like 19 subscribers. If this somehow blows up, I would be very impressed, because it's my opinion from an average guy who has really, really weird tastes. This will be my current votes for the Game Award show coming up in a few weeks from now. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, best game direction. So yeah, you have Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which apparently snagged 12 nominations, the most in any game nomination in history for the Game Awards show. I think the previous record was Last of Us 2, which had 10 nominations. So Clair Obscur Expedition 33 took 12 nominations, and I will say it now, while I do love Clair Obscur Expedition 33 a lot, I don't think it's going to sweep that many awards here, because a lot of these games were just absolutely amazing this year, with one really coming out of nowhere with a real heavy swing. Two of these are Sony games. Now, Sony games have a reputation of being real good narrative, like, pieces of work here. Death Stranding 2, apparently, I haven't seen much of it. I've only seen a few streams of it, but apparently it was a massive improvement from Death Stranding 1. Oh, okay. So for best game direction, it is between, for me personally, Expedition 33 or Split Fiction. I've seen gameplay start to finish with Split Fiction, and Expedition 33 I actually played through start to finish. I'm trying my best not to maintain a bias for Expedition 33, even though it's a masterpiece of a game to me. In this case, in terms of best game direction, Hazelight Studios, they've always been a good job making a real good, like, co-op experience with your buddy for a two-player experience. They've done it really, really well with A Way Out. They did it great with It Takes Two. And lastly, Split Fiction was also good. And that is also not talking about their first game ever, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. So that was their first ever, like, work that they actually worked on way back in the day as Starbreeze Studios. So yeah, Joseph Fares worked on Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Fuck the Oscars!
And since then, he's went to work on 3 games that have been absolutely amazing. So here's a hot take. I don't want Expedition 33 to sweep the Game Awards. I know, that's crazy, right? It has 12 nominations, and the last time a game sweeped the Academy Awards, the last time a game sweeped the award show was Last of Us Part 2, which was one of the most divisive games in terms of its community, as well as the divide between them and the journalists. So I don't want Expedition 33 to necessarily sweep. I do want a lot of love to be spread out amongst all these games in many categories. I would say in a best case scenario, like, Expedition 33 can get a few awards, as well as many other games. And then, of course, Game of the Year, I will explain in a short while. Oh, my notifications. Oops. Okay. So I'll vote for Split Fiction for best game direction here. So for best narrative. So like I said, like, Sony, they always knock it out of the park with best narrative. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was a massive improvement from Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. Silent Hill F, I've seen a lot of gameplay of, and it's a really, really good game. I'm so happy to see Silent Hill actually making a comeback of a sort with Silent Hill 2 remake and Silent Hill F. But in terms of best narrative, I do got to give it to Expedition 33. What can I say without, like, spoiling anything? It's not how you expect the narrative to go from the start of the game. Originally, it just starts out as, like, a sort of, like, oh, we gotta kill the big bad, and then it gets deeper than that. Much deeper. So best art direction, Expedition 33 was really nice in terms of like the direction. There's not a single environment that's different from one another. Death Stranding 2 likewise really prides itself on like the realistic aspects of the game. Last I remember, they made it to where Norman Reedus, he actually has a strong throwing arm, so he throws actually with his right arm, and then with his left he actually throws, he has a reduced throwing range if he throws with his left, if I remember. That's insane. So I don't know if that falls under art direction, but it's like, oh yeah, technical achievement, there it is. It's like there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens in Death Stranding, so many attention to detail stuff. Genius Kojima continues to innovate so many crazy nonsensical stuff that's not needed. There's a piss meter. Hades 2 though is real stylized. It's between Hollow Knight, Silksong, and Hades 2, because again, I've seen a lot of Hades 2, and their trailers maintain that art style, which really does help like reinforce the game. So, well, in this case, I'd have to give it to Hades 2 because, again, Hades 2 has a really strong art style the whole way through. A lot of people always want to smash or pass the lot of the gods you meet, a lot of the deities you meet. There we go, our first error. Hopefully we can return home, and hopefully it'll maintain my nominations here.
5 minutes later.
I just wanted to make a video, man, that's just like, you know, just trying to... Hey, 404 again. Great. Just great.
1 hour later.
Still loading. Hey, we're back. Okay. Split Fiction got snubbed a lot during these awards from what I've seen. A lot of people are saying it should have been nominated for Game of the Year, and it did. Hazelight Studios did win an award for It Takes Two back in the day, so... Dang it! Okay, so the category thing does work. Okay, so we're back on track. Best score on music. This one's my first, like... impulse vote. It's gonna go to Lorient Testard. The dude just had a SoundCloud, and the devs just said, hey, you want to make some music for us? And he said, okay. And then he just made that, like, every track has just been a banger when it comes to like score and music, and everybody agrees for the most part. Like the majority agrees that Lorient Testard just made an absolute amazing soundtrack that's still being played in orchestras and everything around the world. I would be very surprised if Lorient Testard did not get an award for Best Score on Music for Expedition 33, but I can see Christopher Larkin potentially snubbing that award because Silksong is not really like missing out either. Silksong's music is just as good. Best Audio Design. Again, a lot of people are saying that a lot of these games may not be really eligible for audio design. A lot of people say, oh, Split Fiction was just amazing for audio design, and honestly, after looking back on it, I can kind of agree. It's not to be confused with Best Soundtrack. In this case here, like I said, I try not to maintain a bias. Claire Obscure Expedition 33's like audio design was definitely really good in a lot of cases. A lot of attacks and a lot of enemies had a lot of like power to them. They were really amazing, but in this case, I'm gonna have to give it to Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 really is a return to form, even in the microtransactions.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
That are really, really hounding us right now for our money. But before that, we had 27 days of some of the best gaming I've ever had, because Battlefield came back just to have a really good multiplayer and a really subpar campaign, but at least the campaign is there. It's not like 2042 where they said they didn't have a campaign so they can allocate resources for the multiplayer, and then it just like, the multiplayer was just... And yeah, like Battlefield 6 has some of the best sound design I've ever heard in a Battlefield game. I'm like a tank main, so I like to like drive tanks a lot. IFVs and tanks I'm an absolute monster at, and yeah, if you see me on a tank, you're in trouble. Unless you are a sneaky deaky recon with C4, in which case I'm probably, that's my one weakness. Or a jet sweat. or an attack chopper, or that one crazy engineer that decides to martyr himself by RPGing me point blank in the rear. I have a lot of weaknesses actually as a tank main. But tangents aside, Battlefield has some of the best audio design ever. They even have an audio setting solely designed to make you feel like you're on a battlefield. Your ears will be crying to make it stop, but no, those bullets need to feel the impact. You need to feel the impact of it, baby. But yeah, always select war tapes for your audio settings when you are playing Battlefield 6. Next category. So this one was crazy. So best performance. So there's three people nominated for Expedition 33. And then there's Erika Ishii. I know Erika Ishii. Konatsu Kato, who I think she did the Japanese dub, if I recall. Because if I recall, Susie Young voiced the English version, but Konatsu Kato did the motion capture and the voiceover for the Japanese dub, I'm guessing. And the game starts Japanese, and I think you have to switch to English, if I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's weird that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle still got a nomination. I'm guessing because it missed the window last year when it released, so it's eligible this year for an award. Troy Baker's great. Between Jennifer English, Ben Starr, and Charlie Cox, it's kind of insane to see these three. I will say I will probably vote for Ben Starr, one, because he's also the voice of Arthur Nightingale in Warframe, and two, because the last scene that I saw with the ending kind of freaked me out. I'll vote for Ben Starr. This is me from the future speaking. I just had an epiphany moment. So I went ahead and I voted Ben Starr for Expedition 33, correct? Yeah, I had time to think on that, and I realized that I really did skim over the fact that Troy Baker was nominated for his role as Indiana Jones, right? So, I realized something. He was nominated for playing Indiana Jones. Now, what's crazy is that this is a role that has been known to be one of, the roles. Only one person can play Indiana Jones, and that is Harrison Ford. It's been widely mentioned that several times in a lot of articles. Nobody can play or replace Indiana Jones but the man himself. Troy Baker did the impossible, right? He played Indiana Jones and did it well. In fact, last year, on stage, Harrison Ford himself came up on stage and said,
"I think this guy did a great job. If I'd known he was so good, I would have done it myself."
So I'm going ahead and I'm going to change my vote to Troy Baker because he did the impossible of playing Indiana Jones. If there's any other person that can play Indiana Jones now, it is Troy Baker. Okay, let's get back to it. We'll be back after these regularly scheduled interruptions. There we go, we're back. At least I hope we're back. Okay, yeah, we are. Okay. Innovation and accessibility. I will say this, say what you want. If there's anything to compliment EA and Ubisoft on, it's that they have some of the best accessibility options available. And I know a lot of people hate Ubisoft and the EA. My hot take is that Ubisoft has talent, but they keep using it in the wrong areas by having them release the same kind of game every time, you know? Like Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ghost Recon, Far Cry, The Division, they all share the same DNA now and the same design format of having an open world to explore with looter elements and tower and outpost liberation, and it's like they all feel the same now. Sure, they can add a lot of additional things to make the game feel different, like having a duo system like with Assassin's Creed Shadows between Naoe and Yasuke, but at the end of the day, it still is the same game as any other Ubisoft game you've played in the last 10 years. I think that's the reason why Ubisoft is failing, not because they're making crappy games, but because they're releasing the same one every time. With that said, I do got to give the accessibility options to Ubisoft because, again, I'd rather have them over EA, and they're always a safe bet if you ever need to vote for anybody. If you ever need to vote for anybody in innovation, in accessibility. So I'll vote for Assassin's Creed Shadows. I know that's crazy, but again, Ubisoft, they're reliable when it comes to adding accessibility in their games. Games for Impact. Wander Stomp and South of Midnight are here, so I didn't, again, I'm only going off of the gameplay I saw at this time around. I've never even heard of Consumi, Despelote, and Lost, well, I've heard of Lost Records, but it's between South of Midnight and Wander Stomp, and I don't want to vote for South of Midnight because I'm worried that if South of Midnight wins an award, Xbox is going to shut them down like they did with Tango Gameworks and be like, we need more award-winning games like South of Midnight. So no, wait. Why? They won an award. Why did you can them and say you need more games that win awards like them? Why? I'm really surprised why we're not clowning on Microsoft more over that. With that backward sense of logic, I like, parody aside, I'll vote South of Midnight. Best ongoing game. This one I don't even need to think. I'm always going to vote No Man's Sky. That game had the best redemption arc in video game history, and they still are popping out amazing update after amazing update. There's people flying goddamn Gundams and freaking like winging angel statues into the social space now that are the size of a goddamn skyscraper. Like, they made that. They made the ability to make ships like that now. Eat your heart out, Starfield. So yeah, I'm always going to vote for No Man's Sky for best ongoing game and best community support because they keep making amazing updates and they keep getting snubbed. As far as I know, No Man's Sky may have won once or twice, but yeah, I'm always going to vote No Man's Sky because they continue to pop out amazing updates and they don't charge a dime for it. Best community support. It's amazing that Baldur's Gate 3 is still getting nominated even after all these years, and I wouldn't be surprised if Baldur's Gate 3 wins Best Community Support because they've put out a lot of amazing stuff like modding support and all that. Yeah, you know what? I literally just said I'm always going to vote No Man's Sky, but you know what? Just this once, I'll go against that. I'll vote Baldur's Gate. Why not? Best Indie Game. So it's amazing to know that Expedition 33 is it's a goddamn indie game. It's insane to know that. Kepler Interactive apparently is like it's a big company that apparently prides itself on finding small studios to invest in, and they went ahead and they funded Expedition 33. Expedition 33 had the craziest start of just being a guy that worked at Ubisoft, was really sad he couldn't see through his vision because Ubisoft kept like not allowing it, essentially. They wanted him to keep working on the slop they're making, so he left. He literally went to Reddit and like SoundCloud and a bunch of other social forum websites just asking, hey, I'm looking for writers for my video game. I also need somebody to do the music. Who's this guy on SoundCloud, Lorian, to start? Can you make the music? And then just... really crazy how the game started out, and there's a lot of videos covering the like development of Expedition 33, and Kepler Interactive really did a good job seeing that vision through. Yeah, I do like Expedition 33, but I do need to keep in mind of Silksong. Hades 2 will forever be great, but Hades 2 entered early access and slowly eased itself into content. Silksong came out as a full experience, and it came out swinging after 7 years of complete total radio silence after the announcement. And the development of that is also really crazy because it was a case of just them saying, oh yeah, we're working on Silksong as a DLC too. We kind of went overboard. We're gonna make this a full game now. And then just nothing. There was hints and bits about like, oh yeah, the game's gonna come out soon, and then nothing. And then it became a meme. And then Team Cherry, I don't know if it was intentional, but they capitalized on that. And when it came out, Silksong just sold like crazy because so many people bought into the meme not knowing what game they were getting themselves into, like me. I have been tortured in that game because I did not play Hollow Knight, and I said, oh, let's see what this game is about. I know it's a Metroidvania Souls-like, but surely I played Elden Ring. I won't have a bad time in there, and I had a terrible time in there. But regardless, I'd say Silksong is definitely going to take the cake for best indie game because they just have like Expedition 33, they had a true passion for it, but I gotta commend them on their strategy of just being silent and capitalizing on that. They didn't give out any updates, they were just quiet, and that really did lead into the game's success. And there was no bugs on it either. The game just released and bam, it was just great from the get-go. So I'll take Silksong for that one for best independent game. Best debut indie game. So this one's crazy because we had Expedition 33, Dispatch, and Mega Bonk. Blueprints is also really good. I'm glad it got a nomination because seeing that game is just insane how it works. I'd be surprised if Mega Bonk won it, but I wouldn't be upset. Dispatch came out of nowhere, and it's a pleasant surprise of a game. Sandfall Interactive's first game with Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It's insane to me that that was their first game. They captured lightning in a bottle and they set expectations. I would be surprised if they made a game better than Expedition 33. It has some of its flaws, like it doesn't explain some of the game systems all that well, and there was some writing inconsistencies apparently that I was told about. But overall, the overall overarching experience is just absolutely crazy for Expedition 33. The best debut indie game, I won't be upset if Dispatch or Mega Bonk take it, but my vote will be for Expedition 33. Again, I'm not trying to maintain a bias, I just legitimately think it's a good game. Best mobile game. I do not apply to this. Yeah. I'll take my chances with Sonic Rumble. Best VR AR game. Just in case I have to vote for something, I'll vote for it's nice that people are still making VR games. I just hope VR can be more mainstream in the future. I have a VR headset, but it's a Gen 1 HTC Vive that's really bulky and uneasy to use, and it's like I can't wear that anymore now, knowing how much the technology has advanced over the years. Best action game. Like I said, Battlefield 6. It was a return to form multiplayer for a while. It still is an amazing multiplayer, but unfortunately, it's like they finally released the Battle Pass and RedSec, and I will probably take Battlefield 6 regardless, because again, at least it came out as a good out-of-the-gate experience. Best action adventure game. So again, one of the crazy good things about Death Stranding 2 in its retcon is that they finally added guns now. You can actually shoot now. Then again, it's been so long since Death Stranding 1, maybe you could shoot guns this whole time. But last I remember, Kojima mentioned how he didn't want it to be a game where you just snuck around and shot people with guns. Again, this one's a good like impulse vote for me. Silksong, good action game. Really is satisfying when you kill a boss. Now that's an easy click. That'll take my vote. Best RPG. Now, it's crazy that Outer Worlds 2 got in just in time because I haven't played the game yet despite being really hyped for it because of a certain company that decided to make yet another bad decision, and I don't want to pay for $70 games, let alone 80. I'm not poor. I'm just a man of principle. Monster Hunter Wilds, I don't see anything on the game. It could be because I don't play it, but it doesn't have that magic that Monster Hunter World had. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Expedition 33, and Avowed are nominated as well, and here is the thing. I've played Avowed and Expedition 33. Haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I try my best not to hold a bias, but while I love Expedition 33 a lot, it doesn't meet the standard that I expect in an RPG game. I don't like RPG games that have preset characters that you have to play as. Sure, you're playing as a role like in The Witcher, but at the end of the day, I don't like RPGs like that. I like RPGs where you create your character and you create the role you're in. You don't play as a character in that role and play their role, if that makes sense. It's between Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, and I just realized they're both made by Obsidian. Obsidian got nominated twice in the same category. That's awesome. They put out 2 amazing games in the same year, but Avowed, it became Game Pass slop. They just took it, shelved it on the Game Pass, and then they never marketed it. That's the problem with most Microsoft games, is that they release a pretty good game, they don't advertise it, they just shovel it on the Game Pass, put it in their catalog, say, look at how many games we got, and then just move on to the next game. It's kind of sad. So yeah, I'll take Avowed, because I like how you can actually create a character and actually like build out a role, either for magic, sword, or gun. Like, you can use whatever. I like that. Best fighting game. I don't apply for this one, so just for the sake of it, I think Capcom never fails to impress. Best family game. It's good to see Nintendo getting nominated for these. I'm very, very sad that Nintendo's trying to push for $80 games now, and I think they tried to push $90 for Mario Kart World. So I'm kind of disappointed that they are continuing trends that are worse for the consumer. I love Split Fiction. It's a family-oriented game. It's also great to play with a good friend or someone who, your significant other. It's a great game to just play and bond with your buddy, And the game has little mini games and segments that rely on that like duo mechanic. It's really, 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 really fun. Best sim/strategy game. This one's crazy because we have Civ 7, which had a pretty bad launch. The Alters, which had a really crazy concept. Jurassic World Evolution 3, I love Jurassic Park, and Jurassic World, the first movie, wasn't half bad. Final Fantasy Tactics, I've seen gameplay of, but I haven't played it yet. I'll have to give it to the Alters because the concept of it is just so insane and it works out wonderfully. I will give it to the Alters for this one. Best sports/racing. All right, well, it's Nintendo. Mario Kart World is crazy. Mario Kart is Mario Kart. It's one of the best racing games out there. Even its legacy alone really did, it really does ring with the hearts of many. So as much as I hate to say it, it's yeah, Mario Kart World is probably really good. They had a lot of controversial parts though, where they apparently nerfed a set of courses apparently, but yeah. That's the good thing with Nintendo. Their exclusives don't miss. They could charge you $100 and they can get away with it. It's a miracle they're not. But yeah, I'll give it to Mario Kart World. As much as I loathe to do it, it's just one of the times where I'll set my principles aside and be a hypocrite because it's Mario Kart. It's one of the better racing games that you can get. Is that everything? No, we still got 10 more to go. Ugh. Best multiplayer. It is good to see Night Rain get a nomination, but I will say after playing it, I ultimately kind of got I didn't get bored of it, but I did not enjoy the gameplay loop because it basically took a boss fight and it drew it out into like a 30-40 minute roguelite experience. And already I didn't like roguelites, but it made it even worse because it kind of negates the whole idea of a boss fight in Elden Ring or any other FromSoft game. Because usually in Elden Ring and other FromSoft games like Dark Souls, usually there's a bonfire / grace right outside the boss gate, so that way when you die, you can go back in fresh with the knowledge you had and try again. Elden Ring basically blocks that ability. It blocks your ability to immediately retain what you learned in the previous fight, and you have to try to remember the boss's patterns for the next 40 minutes as you try to grind your stuff up again and go again at the boss. I'm really happy I had a OP friend to take me through that content, because otherwise I would not have survived there for too long, because again, I rely a lot on dying and coming back almost instantly so that way I can retain like the fight. So I'll give it to Battlefield 6. Arc Raiders is, oh man. Arc Raiders is also really good as well because it's a PvPvE game, like it's an extraction shooter, but apparently people are really nice to each other in an extraction shooter? What? So yeah, it's really close between the two, but at this rate, I'd say Ultimatum. I played Battlefield 6, I haven't played Arc Raiders, so I'll have to give it to Battlefield 6.
I'm Steve.
Chicken jockey. Oh, no. I didn't even know Devil May Cry had an adaptation. Splinter Cell Deathwatch, I didn't even know existed. Last of Us Season 2, Last of Us Season 2, I stopped after the moment because they decided to keep it in, and they decided to keep the exact pacing that The Last of Us 2 had originally, that The Last of Us 2 originally had problems with. The problem is the pacing. It wasn't the leak, in my opinion, that ruined The Last of Us Part 2. It was the fact that the game was written in a very poor pace. It literally opens up with Abby, I'm just gonna say it, spoilers. The game's been out for a long time. If you haven't played it or haven't read the spoilers, that's your fault. It's like Abby kills Joel, right? But she kills him at the end of the first act, like at the very first few hours of the game. And then the game plays out the rest of the way through, forcing you to play as Abby. We witnessed a character kill one character that we loved for a long time, and you expect us to like that character. The story it tells could have worked on its own, but the problem is that the sequence was out of order. The death of Joel, in my opinion, definitely could have happened, but it needed to happen later in the game, not at the end of the first few hours, because we're not going to develop a bond with a character that literally killed one of ours that we loved so much, you know? So I can't give it to Last of Us Season 2 for that reason. They're just rehashing the events of the first game. I don't even care about the fact that they recasted Bella Ramsey to play an older Ellie. I don't even care about that part, even if some of the dialogue was a little cringe.
I'm gonna be a dad.
Yeah, it sucks that it still is maintaining that same sequence, as far as I'm aware. I stopped after the episode where they murdered Joel because I just immediately said, okay, they're just rehashing the events of the game. There's no reason to continue watching this because now I know what's going to happen, and I really don't care about Abby for that very reason. I loved Last of Us 1 because, it was a fresh first experience to get acquainted with the game and the universe and the world, and, the development between Joel and Ellie is just unforgettable, And then the show repeated that really, really well. I think there's some minor changes in the adaptation compared to the game, but otherwise it's nearly one-to-one. If I recall, there's some additions in the show that the game didn't really touch upon too much, but otherwise it still is the same, almost one-to-one. I was hoping they would at least subvert expectations, but unfortunately they did not. I hate to say it, but considering the fact that I haven't seen Devil May Cry, Splinter Cell, or Until Dawn, I'm gonna have to vote for the Minecraft movie. Just because of the memes. Just because of the memes. Chicken Jockey. They love crushing loaf. So most anticipated game. This is crazy because we have seen a lot of things in these games in the trailers. First Light gave us some pretty decent gameplay-ish. There's still a lot of weird things like frames dipping and I don't know, something feels weird about First Light. I can't put my finger on it. Marvel's Wolverine, their reveal of the game was so funny. They literally showed a clip of Wolverine like basically impaling a dude through the jaw like 4 times and it's like we've seen it already. What is going on? Grand Theft Auto 6 is like definitely a gimme because it's like, I mean, just look at how many views it got in such a short amount of time. Like, it's gonna get most anticipated game just for that metric alone. I don't like how Rockstar is operating right now. They are union busting currently, last I remember, and I'm very ashamed that Rockstar is doing that. I thought it was like a 2K thing, but no, Rockstar is apparently being really scummy with their leadership. But you cannot deny that their developers are working hard to put heart into this game and make it one of the best gaming experiences that ever hit the industry. They did it with GTA 4, they did it with GTA 5, which is still one of the top-selling games of all time. And of course, they did it for Red Dead Redemption 2. And Red Dead 1 was also really good. The developers try their best to put out a good video game. I hate the leadership, but I love the developers. Most anticipated game will be GTA 6. Content Creator of the Year. Burnt Peanut, I saw at the Battlefield 6 reveal. I have not ever seen him before. I found him really funny. Kaisenot, I feel is kind of a controversial figure because every time I see clips of him on like the subreddit on r/livestream fails, it's like it's always him and his like entourage that's always causing some sort of weird, crazy shenanigans. And Kaisenot tries to shut it down, but it's like, again, I don't know the whole context, but it's like, bro, why do you keep putting these people right next to you when they're gonna do some crazy shit like this to get clout? I don't like that. I gotta give it to Moist Critical. Moist Critical is just, he seems like such a genuinely good dude. He's a good content creator because he doesn't put money first from the seams of it. There's literal streams where he just gives money out to people sometimes. I joined one of those streams and it's like, it seems like he's genuinely just giving out money to people at some points. Like, he's a really decent guy. That's coming from somebody with 19 subs though, so who am I to say? Best esports game. I'll give it to Counter-Strike 2 because it was funny that they crashed the fucking skin market. Best esports athlete. Oh yeah, we're nearing the end. We're nearing the end. This is the last mile. This will be fast because I don't know any of these people. I'll give it to Zywoo. He's the only one that I actually kind of know, only because I only took esports news in from osmosis and I just know him by name, so I'll just vote him by name. Best esports team. I'll vote for Team Liquid PH because I'm not a fan of Mobile Legends, but apparently Mobile Legends is crazy in the Philippines, and Team Liquid PH is the Philippines division, so I'll vote for them because of Filipino pride. I'll take them. That's coming from somebody who's half Filipino, so. And it froze again. Let's go! Okay, so apparently we actually are at the end. The last two is one that didn't go off and ending with Game of the Year. And so here we've come to the last category, Game of the Year. This one is going to be a real crazy fight here. We have Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Like, I wish they just went gung-ho and just, like, threw as many Game of the Year categories on here as well, because there's a lot of games that deserve to be nominated for Game of the Year, but I guess they capped it at 6. Without further ado, let's go ahead and just vote. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, again, it was a massive improvement, and the attention to detail elements was insane. Donkey Kong Bonanza, as always, it always seems like Nintendo is always nominated for a Game of the Year, doesn't win it and gets snubbed. It's like they do it just because they want a Nintendo game on there, and honestly, Nintendo games, they're received really well, but they never win Game of the Year. So I always assume they're just a checkbox thing. I would be genuinely surprised if Donkey Kong Bonanza got Game of the Year. Hades 2, you can never go wrong with Hades 2. I'm happy to see where it's at. Supergiant Games did great with Hades 1, and seeing Hades 2 get nominated is really cool. Hollow Knight Silksong, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Expedition 33, I feel like are going to be the real contenders here that I would not be mad if any of those 3 won. Let me go ahead and vote for my Game of the Year nomination. My particular vote will go to Expedition 33 because, like I said, everything about that game played out wonderfully. It may have a few flaws, but every single other part of the game helps it stand out and make it an experience like no other. If you haven't played Expedition 33 yet, you need to find a way to go out and play it, and if by chance you play it and it doesn't fit your taste because it's a turn-based RPG with some action elements like dodging and parrying, if you don't like it, that's okay. You're free to just move on and just play something else. But yeah, there's a big, heavy majority from journalists and the community alike that just absolutely love the game. I myself will give my vote to Expedition 33, and I'm willing to say I did my best to give a non-biased take on it because, you know, I didn't vote for every single nomination it got, so there's that kind of merit alone to make it show that I'm not like a complete total like fanboy of a sort, you know? I feel kind of guilty about that sometimes, thinking about it. I gave it a legit take, and I did vote what I genuinely feel are some of the better games that can beat Expedition 33 in select categories, which leads me to 3 potential scenarios that's going to happen in the Game Awards. Scenario 1, Expedition 33 sweeps everything but Game of the Year. Like, again, it's going to sweep everything, and it's going to get snubbed by Game of the Year by Silksong. That's my running theory, and I would not be mad if that were the case. However, you got to keep in mind, 90% of the votes will go to the journalists, so who knows if whether or not they will actually vote Silksong or the more approachable Expedition 33. At least that's a theory my friend had, which actually does have a lot of validity to it, but it depends on how well those journalists are good at games. Who knows, they might have played Silksong from beginning to end and legitimately think it's better than Expedition 33. We'll see later. So, while it's crazy, I do think Expedition 33 is going to win a lot of awards, and I would not be surprised if it did not get Game of the Year. Option 2. Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards don't give a shit, and Expedition 33 sweeps literally everything. We saw it with Last of Us 2. It might happen with Expedition 33. I do not want that to happen, but it is an option. Scenario 3. Expedition 33 does not sweep the Game Awards, but it does win Game of the Year. We saw it with The Last of Us 2 and Baldur's Gate 3, so it is an option. Now, the other option is that Expedition 33 doesn't sweep, but it does win Game of the Year. I don't see that happening because, again, there's a massive bias towards the music, the performances of the characters, and the general, consensus that the entire community and the journalists have. The game got massive glaze, but so did Silksong and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and many others. So it's like, if it doesn't win Game of the Year, then it's like, yeah, that's okay. What would genuinely surprise me is that Expedition 33 doesn't win any awards. People will not be happy if that's the case. And we'll see if whether or not it's going to, cause some kind of fallout like what happened with, oh wait, that's a reverse of the situation. I was talking about Last of Us 2, but the problem with Last of Us 2 was that it won every category, and people were upset over that. This will be the opposite. If Eclair Expedition 33 doesn't win any awards, yeah, no, there will likely be hell to pay from a lot of people in the community. So anyways, those are my picks. Let's go ahead and... So here's my vote card. I hope you like it. I want to see my vote card because this will allow me to, check and see what exactly I voted for in a condensed format. That's why it's here. Expedition 33, Lorient to start Expedition 33, Expedition 33. Yeah, looking back on it, I kind of did vote a lot of Expedition 33 stuff. But hey, to be fair, it's some of these are legitimately my take. Expedition 33 was nominated for 12 things. I voted for only 4 or maybe 5 of them. South of Midnight, Games for Impact, because again, I do genuinely what I saw from South of Midnight, I did genuinely like it. I try my best to give everything a fair shake. Some stuff I really am not necessarily voting for because I genuinely like it, but I'm pretty sure that's for a lot of us where we just vote because it's there, we might as well vote. Okay, so here are my votes on the matter. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you disagree with any of these, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I am more than happy to take a look at them. All right, so I hope you guys have a good morning, evening, or night, and I will catch you in the next video. Later, guys.